Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtiprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, the 61 explanations of the Atma onwards, text 179 onwards. So Mahaprabhu was explaining how even the birds, bees, saras, they all can become devotees of the Lord. Now further he is saying, Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha, Abhira Shumbha Yavana Khasadaya, Ye Anya Cha Papa Yadupa Shreya Shreya, Shuddhyanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Nam. Means Kirats, Hoons, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhir, Shumbhas, Yavan, and members of the Khas races, and even others who are addicted to sinful acts, can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to his being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So this is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavat. This verse was spoken by Shukdev Goswami when Parikshit Maharaj asked him for a description of the creation. While offering obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shukdev Goswami described the unlimited potencies of Lord Vishnu, who can purify the low-born creatures mentioned herein. Means these are different races. They are lower than Shudras. And even they can be purified by taking shelter and engaging in devotion services. Further, Kimva Dhriti Shabde Nij Purnatadi Gyan Kaye Dukha Bhave Uttam Prapte Mahapurna hai. The word Dhriti is also used when one is fully perfect in knowledge. When, due to having obtained the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has no material miseries, he attains Mahapurna, the highest level of perfection. Dhriti Syat Purnata Jnana, Dukha Bhavottam Aktibhi, Apraptatit Nashtatratha, Nabhisham Shochanadi Krita. Dhriti is the fullness felt due to the absence of misery and the attainment of knowledge of the Supreme Lord and pure love for him. The lamentation that accrues from not obtaining a goal or from losing something already attained does not affect this completeness. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So Dhriti means fullness, completely. When one is fully perfect in knowledge, even they are engaged in Krishna service. Krishna Bhakta Dukha Hina, Vanchanta Rahina, Krishna Prema Seva, Purnananda Pravina. A devotee of Krishna is never in a miserable condition, nor does he have any desire other than to serve Krishna. He is experienced and advanced. He feels the transcendental bliss of love of Krishna and always engages in his service in full perfection. So that's why Dhriti means he's full. He doesn't need anything. No material desires, only desire to serve Krishna. That's it. Mat sevya pratitam te shalokyadi chatushtaya na icchanti sevya purna kuto anyat kal viplutvam. My devotees, having fulfilled their desires by serving me, do not accept the four kinds of salvation that are easily earned by such service. Why then should they accept any pleasures that are lost in the course of time? Lost in the course of time means the material pleasures. They're not after that. ऋषिकेश ऋषिकानि यस्य स्थैर्य गतानि हि स एव धैर्यमाप्नोति संसारे जीव चंचले. In this material world, all living entities are disturbed due to their flickering position. A devotee, however, is fixed in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, the master of the senses. Such a person is to be considered situated in endurance and patience. So devotee, however, is fixed, but the rest everybody in the material world are disturbed due to their flickering position. Means just like a bhajan says, na, Jivan talmal, kamal jaladal jivan tal. Means our life is what? Like a drop on the leaf of a lotus flower. When it is going to go down, we don't know. But devotee, however, is always fixed. Cha avadharane iha api samuchaye. Dhriti mantahaya bhaje pakshi murkha chaye. The word cha is for emphasis, and the word api is used to indicate an aggregate. Thus, it is to be understood that even dull creatures like birds and illiterates can also be situated in endurance and engage in Krishna's devotional service. Atma Shabde Buddhi Kahe Buddhi Vishesha, Samanya Buddhi Yukta Yat Jiva Vishesha. The word Atma is used here, also used for a particular type of intelligence, since all living entities generally have some intelligence, more or less, they're all included. Buddhe Rame Atma Raman Duita Prakara, Pandit Munigan Nirgrantha Murkha. Everyone has some kind of intelligence, and one who utilizes this intelligence is called an Atmaram. There are two types of Atmarams. One is a learned scholar and philosopher, and other is an uneducated, illiterate, foolish person. Krishna Kripai Sadhu Sange Rati Buddhi Pai Sab Chadi Shuddha Bhakti Kare Krishna Pai. By the mercy of Krishna and by the association of devotees, one increases his attraction to an intelligence for pure devotional service. Therefore, one gives up everything and engages himself at the lotus feet of Krishna and his pure devotees. Aham sarvasya prabhu, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, matta sarvam pravartate iti matta bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. I, Krishna, am the original source of everything. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my service with love and devotion. Te vai vidanti atitaranti cha deva maya mistri shudra huna sabara api papa jiva. Yadi adbhut krama parayana shila shikshaj tiryak jana api kim ushruta dharana. Women, fourth-class men, uncivilized hill tribes, hunters, and many others born of low families, as well as birds and beasts, can engage in the service of the Supreme Personality of God, who acts very wonderfully, and follow the path of devotees and take lessons from them. Although the ocean of nations is vast, they can still cross over it. What then is a difficulty for those who are advanced in Vedic knowledge? This is quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Brahma said this when speaking to his disciple Narad about the wonderful characteristics of Lord Vishnu. Simply by chanting the glories of Lord Vishnu, one can cross the ocean of nations, even though one may be low-born. Vichara kariya yabbe bhaje Krishna pai, sai buddhi dena tare, yate Krishna pai. Considering all these points, when one engages in the service of Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna gives one the intelligence by which he can gradually progress towards perfection in service to the Lord. So when one engages in the service of the Lord, then Krishna gives the intelligence. So on our own, how much we can do? But if Krishna gives the intelligence, then definitely we can make progress. Tesham Satati patanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamapayanti. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Satsanga Krishna Seva Bhagavad Nama Vraje Vas Ei Pancha Sadhana. To be elevated to the platform of devotional service, the following 5 items should be observed: association with devotees, engagement in the service of Lord Krishna, the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, the chanting of the holy names, and residence at Vrindavan or Mathura. यही पंच मध्य एक स्वल्प यति है सुबुद्धि जने रहे Krishna प्रेमोदय. One's dormant love for Krishna gradually awakens if one is a little advanced in one of these 5 items and is intelligent. So one is awakens if one is a little advanced in one of these 5 items. So any 5. Of course, the best is chanting of the holy name. That we can do anywhere, anytime. See, association with devotees cannot happen all the time. Engagement in the service of Lord Krishna, again, it's time bound. Reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, we don't have that much attachment that we can read whole day. And residence at Vrindavan and Mathura, we have to be very qualified to go there, otherwise we'll commit offenses. But the chanting of the holy names can be done at any time, any place, anywhere, in any condition. With beads, without beads, we can chant. Duruhadbhuta viryasmin, shraddha dure astu panchake, yatra swalpo api sambandha, saddhyam bhava janmane. The power of these 5 principles is very wonderful and difficult to understand. Even without faith in them, a person who is offenseless can awaken his dormant love of Krishna simply by being a little connected with them. This verse is found in Bhakti Rasamrita. Udara mahati yar sarvottama buddhi, nana kame bhaje tabu paye bhakti siddhi. If a person is actually liberal and intelligent, he can advance and become perfect in devotional service, even if he has material desires and serves the Lord with some motive. So even if somebody has ulterior motives, still Krishna will purify him if he is engaged in Krishna's service. Akama sarva kama moksha kama dharati tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. When one desires everything or nothing, and whether he desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service. Bhakti prabhav se kama chadaya, Krishna pade bhakti karay, gune akarshi. Devotional service is so strong that when one engages in it, he gradually gives up all material desires and becomes fully attracted to the lotus feet of Krishna. All this is brought about by attraction for the transcendental qualities of the Satyam dishati arthitam artito nirnam nevartha do yat punar arthitayata swayam vidatte bhajatam anichatam ichha pidanam nijpada pallam. Whenever Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, means one's material desires, he undoubtedly does so, but he does not avoid anything which, after being enjoyed, will cause one to petition him again and again to fulfill further desires. So this verse earlier also Mahaprabhu spoke. When one has other desires but engages in the Lord's service, Krishna forcibly gives one shelter at his lotus feet, where one will forget all other desires. Forcibly gives one shelter at his lotus feet. And that force could be in any way, whether he frustrates one, in fulfilling his desires, or whether he gives some fulfills some desires, but then takes them away, or whatever way. That's up to Krishna. And that is why, as I said earlier also, people don't like to worship Krishna. He's also not straightforward. He's bent at three places. So are all his pastimes and his mercy also. It's not straightforward. It's never straightforward. Look at any of his pastimes. Lord Ram's pastimes, very simple, straightforward. No, no ifs and buts about it. But Krishna, nothing is straightforward. And that is why he is very dear to his devotees. When it comes to that, they also like him like that. So what to do? Atma Shabde Swabhava Kahe, Tate Ye Ram Rame, Atma Rama Jiva Yat Sthavar Jangam. Another meaning of the word Atma is one's characteristic nature. Whoever enjoys his particular type of nature is called Atma. Therefore, all living entities, be they moving or non-moving, are also called Atma. Jivera Sabhava Krishna Das Abhiman, Dehe Atma Jnane Achadita Yesai Jnana. The original nature of every living entity is to consider himself the eternal servant of Krishna. But under the influence of Maya, he thinks himself to be the body, and thus his original consciousness is covered. That's where the problem is. Cha shabda eva api shabda samuchaya atma ram eva haya Shri Krishna bhaja. In that case, by the word cha, the word eva is meant. The word api can be taken in the sense of aggregation. Thus, the verse would read Atmaram Eva, and that is, even all kinds of living beings worship Krishna. Even all kinds of living. It is here mentioned that every living entity is Atmaram. Temporarily covered by the influence of Maya, the living entity serves his senses, which are represented as Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moh, Madhu, Matsarya, lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. In the material condition, all living entities are engaged in sense gratification. But when they associate with devotees who follow the regulative principles, they become purified and awakened to their original consciousness. They then attempt to satisfy the senses of Lord Krishna and engage in his devotional service. See, everybody, that's why Mahaprabhu, here he didn't say other place, it's a Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas, means every Jiva. Now, Krishnera Nityadas doesn't mean particularly Krishna, it could be any Vishnu Tattva. They're all expansions of Krishna. But regardless, every Jiva is servant of Krishna. It just, we have been covered over. When we fall in the material world, we get covered over. It means our consciousness gets covered over. And we forget. And we act the way this body is. And that is madness, actually. Acting like somebody which we are not. That is madness. Thinking, feeling, acting, everything is based on the body. Ei jiva sanakadi sava muni jan nirgrantha morkha neech sthavar pashugan. Living entities include great personalities like the four Kumaras, and also low-class, foolish people, trees, plants, birds, and beasts. Vyasa Shukha Sanakadira Prasiddha Bhajan Nirgrantha Sthavaradira Shun Vivada. The devotional service of Vyas, Shuk, and the four Kumaras has already been very well celebrated. Now, let me explain how immovable living entities like trees and plants engage in the Lord's devotional service. Krishna Kripadi Hetu Haita Sabarudaye, Krishna Guna Krishna Haya, Tahare Bhaja. Everyone is eligible to receive Krishna's mercy, including Vyasadeva, the four Kumaras, Shukdev Goswami, low-born creatures, trees, plants, and beasts. By Krishna's mercy, they are elevated and engaged in his service. So everybody, low-born creatures, trees, plants, beasts. Can you imagine any other form of religion saying these things? That everybody and anybody can be engaged in God's service? No. Many other religions, they don't even think the other creatures have soul. They don't, they say trees, plants, animals, birds, fishes, they don't have souls. So how is their body growing? They cannot explain. So this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, wherein the Lord says, Mami partha vipashitri yapisu papayo. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter of me, that though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, Shudras, birds, hills, water, can attain the supreme destination. Everyone is eligible to become Krishna's devotee. One simply has to be trained according to the approved process. It is the work of Krishna's confidential devotees to turn everyone into a Krishna Bhakta. If the confidential devotees do not take up the task of elevating everyone to Krishna consciousness, then who will do it? Those who claim to be devotees but do not engage in Krishna's service to elevate all living creatures to Krishna consciousness are to be considered Kanishta Adhikaris, people in the lowest stage of devotion service. When one rises to the second platform of devotion service, his business is to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Those who are active in Krishna consciousness movement should not remain in the neophyte stage, but should rise to the platform of preachers, the second platform of devotional service. Devotional service is so enchanting that even the first-class devotees, Uttamadhikaris, also come down to the second platform to preach and render service to the Lord for the benefit of the whole world. So come down to the second platform. So we had studied earlier the Madhyam Adhikaris. They only can preach. Kanishta Adhikaris, they don't have knowledge, they don't have that much faith in scripture, or not that much knowledge of scriptures. So they cannot preach. And Uttam Adhikaris, they see everybody is more advanced than themselves. So how are they going to preach? It's a Madhyam Adhikari. They discriminate. And they don't preach to envious people. They only preach to innocent. So to find out who's envious or not, so there has to be some preaching, some effort. And when you figure out, okay, this is a little bit more in Maya, so we just leave them alone. It's just like, I think I had given this example. In a war, suppose we are in the medical team, and we get two soldiers back from the war front. One soldier is heavily wounded, and the other is lightly wounded. So who are we going to try to serve or save first? So normally people say one who is heavily wounded, but no, one who is lightly wounded, because he can get better and probably he can go back into the war. The heavily wounded might die and might take longer time for the medical team to take care of. And in the meantime, medical team can take care of maybe more lightly wounded soldiers. So heavily wounded means the envious people. Lightly wounded are ignorant or innocent. They just don't know. They're not that against bhakti. So we try to preach to them. Of course, when it comes to giving prasadam or sankirtan, that anybody can can be benefited from. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, yeah.
Nice class, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai